Man, there's a lot of like William Afton villains in FNAF. Like it's just crazy. We have William Afton as Purple Guy, and then William Afton as Human Being, and then Springtrap, and then Burn Trap. Oh no, sorry, Scrap Trap. Yeah, Burn Trap, and then he's basically Glitch Trap, and then now the Mimic. Like it's just like at this point, like it just feels so boring and annoying. Like come on guys, we gotta make something better. Like this just does not cut it. Like I mean they did great with Vanny, and that seemed interesting at first, with the whole her being manipulated and then controlled. Now she's the new villain, but no plot twist. She's not. It's just horrible storytelling. I just gotta say, like it's not good. And then it's just you have a villain and you expect to defeat it, to destroy it, but then he comes back. Not to mention, like, William Afton is the villain that's kind of the foil to Henry, and that he's the business partner who's very greedy and just wants to murder people for no apparent reason, just because he likes to. He's basically a serial killer in the story. And it's just kind of at a certain point, you kind of just like, okay, can we just move on? Can we go to the next villain that's actually better? Vanny. There was so much potential there. So much great potential. And then they just, boom, just crushed it beyond belief. And it's just like how it's just annoying. Because you care for the franchise and you want, like, a good villain that scares the protagonist and is, like, really terrifying. Like, they could have done the Blob. Like, that would have been a decent villain for the new, but no, they had to go back to William Afton. As, the saying, he always comes back. And it's just, yeah, but can we just do something else that's interesting? Maybe we could have a villain like Vanny, or a villain that's like mysterious, supernatural, something that breathes fear into your soul. Like, an example would be like we could have the shadow animatronics be a villain because of their agony and the revenant and whatnot. Because they have so much agony in their memories and they're just in pain and just want to go and get rid of the player because they're so pissed about being unemployed, not making enough money to sustain themselves because they got bills, rent in their past lives. It was a nightmare, Like I don't know how people eat this stuff up and be like, oh yeah, it's so great, but the villain just sucks, like, being a villain. Like, he literally gets spring-trapped, even though he's been wearing the suit and knows, oh yeah, just a bit of water does some damage, it's just a scratch. Just a tiny scratch. And it's just like, you gotta be an insane maniac. I don't know, I tried making it sense in one of my FNAF videos, but it just gets so convoluted. And then Scott's just like, alright, so we gotta create the books because I screwed up on the FNAF story in the game, so I gotta use the books as a guideline. But just to make it more fun, some of the books aren't canon and some aren't, but you gotta figure that out. I don't want to make it that easy to figure out the story. And it's just, why? You have one job as a story maker. Make the story easy to at least figure out, or eventually figure it out. Instead, you got different timelines, some things that contradict each other. It's a nightmare, And I'm glad I'm not making any of those videos. Definitely not. Nope, sorry. No. But maybe it's because they have a great villain. Springtrap might be the best villain in FNAF. And that's probably because he's the only villain in Five Nights at Freddy's. So it's just like, come on, Scott. Just give us a couple more villains. Well, I guess technically you could say the Mimic's the new villain, which is basically just William Afton, but it's just AI form of him. So I guess technically we have a new villain, but it's just like built off of, I don't know, it's just, who knows, maybe it's just because we haven't seen much of the Mimic, but it was kind of shooting the horn in after Security Breach, because Springtrap was just, no one liked Burntrap. It was just horrible idea. Stop bringing back villains, okay? Alright, just let them die. Have their legacy be what brings other villains to life. It's a simple way to make the story more fleshed out, and you build more of the world building, and you create new characters that people can love, so that they have old characters to love and they have new characters to love. We started with the small characters like Freddy, Foxy, Chica, Bonnie, but then we grew up to Rockstar Monty, Rockstar Roxy, and then Rockstar Freddy, and then Rockstar Bonnie. So we got new characters now, and the old characters and new characters. So why do they do it for the heroes but not the villains? It's just it boggles my mind. It just makes me just sit there and just like, what's going on, man? What's going on here? Do we need to have a seat? I think we need to have a seat and get down and get to the bottom of this. Who knows? Maybe I'll just have to accept the fact that Five Nights at Freddy's is just not gonna have good villains that really terrify the protagonist or the player. It feels very oversaturated with just one villain. He's there and everywhere. He's everywhere. But it's just like, okay, can we just be done and move on to the next like new, cool, interesting thing? Sure, you could milk it at a certain point, but it's at a certain point. I feel like Scott has just horrible execution on his part, and milked the cow too much. He milked it to the point where it's just dry. It's just we need something new. So I propose the villain be Shadow Animatronics. That's a possibility. We could continue with the AI, or we could have our protagonist be the villain. It's a plot twist. It was him all along. That's just some ideas, but because I like this franchise. It's a great franchise. We get animatronics. It's just when I think about it, it just irks me the wrong way. Maybe you've had that experience with other franchises. Maybe, I don't know. You could maybe let me know in the comments. What other franchises really irked you the wrong way? Because this is just irking me so much. And I just want improvement in the story. And Scott just has, in my opinion, under-delivered on that. But, he's very into mystery. And the problem with mystery is that you're not conveying in what you want people to know, and so that's why there's so many theories. When you have so many theories and you don't know what's true, really, it's hard to say what's true, and so no one really knows the exact story that you're trying to say. And so that's probably why this franchise will still continue, because no one knows the story, and probably that's what's the fun about it, is trying to figure out the story. That's why I'm making my video on basically solving the entire franchise lore. Eventually I'll get there. It's gonna take me a while, but it's just, I don't know, I just feel like I'm getting scammed at this point. It's just, it seems like for the film of FNAF 2, the villains are gonna be the animatronics, which is an interesting spin, William Afton would just be like, to get Vanessa scared and terrified of the past, like, oh my gosh, she's traumatized. William Afton has traumatized me beyond belief. I can't do anything. Yeah, I predict that she's probably gonna die. Probably gonna die in FNAF 2. Highly likely. Highly likely. I mean, they kind of stabbed her, so I feel like there's a good chance. There's a good chance. But you never know who's gonna die in a horror movie series. You never know. It's probably gonna eventually be a trilogy, which hopefully the third movie gets good with their writing and story, because the first film was just kind of mediocre with the plot. It could have been fleshed out a bit further, but that's just my opinion. You're probably gonna hate me for that opinion, but that's how I'm thinking as a filmmaker in college. So I know some things, but a lot of things I don't, obviously. I'm still in college, just trying to make money, trying to get it so I have money to eventually pay the bills in the future. Because I'm mooching off my parents, but hopefully I'll be able to not mooching off, maybe depending on how my channel goes, but it's tough to say what the future holds. So, but if you want to see more FNAF videos, you could maybe just click the video that YouTube recommends you, or click my playlist of me solving the franchise lore with only the first 4 games.